Looks like both runners are on the start screen, just probably waiting for SMO. And right as I say that, there we go.
Oh, there we go. They're off. Oh, I haven't seen any of these two players play before, so I'm not exactly sure what the times are for their best runs.
Looking at the leaderboards right now, it looks like Kerbis, his best time is a 1:10.23, and Conman has a 1:18.42. So around 8 minutes separating both players, but with a few bad mistakes by Kerbis, that could easily flip the tides in Conman's favor.
Definitely could, yes.
You can already see the route differences here, just going for the bridge start on Cap Kingdom there. Conman opting to go way far out right, something I never personally done before.
Definitely, yes.
Kerbis accidentally falling into the water there.
They're both pretty on pace though, and those perfect cutscene skips as well.
Yeah, I know sometimes if you shake too much or try to skip early, you do have to wait for a pause on pause there. Kerbis misses a frog jump there, putting Conman slightly in the lead. We see both players go to the right here. A new route movement was found. Some faster runners do opt to go to the left and use some backflips to get up. It is slightly faster when done optimally, but it's also very hard to pull off. So.
Definitely, yes. Looks like conmangamer will take down topper here first, which puts him in the lead for getting into Cat Kingdom.
Looks like it's in the lead by around a second.
Yeah. Not too much time, but it could make a little bit of a difference. So.
It looks like Conman's timer is running based off his splits, not off the total time. But Crop Window is focused on the split timer.
So we'll just have to watch Kerbis' timer here. Oh, there we go. Now it's based around his time and the split time as well, over on conmangamer's side.
Alright. Accidentally gets hit by the chain jump there.
That now puts Kerbis in the lead.
Definitely costed him a few seconds.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's see how well these two do on Dino Skip. I know the one race I did, the people really struggle on Dino Skip, but some people have a strategy every time, so we'll see how they play out when they get up to that point. Looks like Kerbis gets it first try. Very nicely done. And so does conmangamer. Very nice. Looks like they're both going for the fast jets here on the chain chomp, but some of them kind of missing. And Kerbis just finishes up with Madame Brutal as conmangamer comes up to the last bit of the fight. Still very close for time for both of them. Kerbis getting that you got the Grand Moon sign as conmangamer just grabs the moon, so definitely a bit of a time difference in between each player. I'm gonna say roughly about like 6 to 8 seconds here, but it does make all the difference later on. Now it looks like Kerbis is just finishing up in this kingdom. Going to be moving on to Sand Kingdom as well as conmangamer. Pretty evenly paced here, come out of Cascade. They got Dino try first skip, but conmangamer with hitting that chain chomp did put him back a bit for time. So definitely something to look out for here. Now, coming up to Sand Kingdom, we might see a few different routes here that are being taken, depending on what happens. Now, there have been so many changes to the sand route that some people still use very old strats for it, but other people opt to use the newer strats that save about 11 seconds or so. So we'll see which one they do. Now, the newer route does take out this moon called Employees Only, which is basically you go inside the shop and behind the counter. Now, normally you'd always be able to get behind the counter, but in the Sand Kingdom, there's a glass wall in front of it. So you have to get behind the shop to be able to get that moon. Now, I'm not sure. It looks like they might be going for it, depending on how this plays out. Conman gets bird very nicely there, as Kerbis did struggle a tiny bit with getting the bird. So we'll see.
Both players opting to take the bird early there. It is possible to take it near their oasis at the end of the route, obviously depending on what route they use, but it is a much tighter time window, as messing up anywhere after flowing sands will cause you to miss the bird and have to go for a 10 to 15 seconds slower alternate move.
Definitely, yes. Now it looks like Kerbis does have about a 6 to 8 second lead here on Conman. They're very, very close for time. The only thing that really did put Conman behind was that chain chomp in Cascade, because he did take damage in it, so. It's definitely crazy to see the time differences here that 8 seconds takes up.
Most definitely. Kerbis is about to attempt very hard trick build to not be destroyed. Try to manipulate the Bulbul's movement so that that's what he does it. Because manipulate the Bulbul movement as Conman isn't doing here. The bullet will wait for another one to shoot out to get this moon. So.
So it looks like they both are taking the newest route, which is taking out Employees Only and using that lone pillar moon that we just saw Kerbis get there. So
this mistake will set conmangamer back another 6 to 7 seconds.
Yeah, because the bullet build, for the time that it explodes to the time that a new one comes out, takes about 5 seconds or so. So that does definitely put conmangamer even more behind than he already was. So.
It looks like Kerbis is going for flowing sands here first instead of Sphinx.
Definitely. Some people do take out Sphinx out of the run still, but some people do use it. So let's see which one conmangamer uses. If he goes for Sphinx first, or if he goes for just the regular one first. And it looks like he's going to go for Sphinx.
Not going for Sphinx clip though. If you stand on the back of the Sphinx's, behind his head, through the wall that the Sphinx is on, and enter the flowing sands loading zone early, clip through that wall to just barely get that moon while still being inside the wall. So then you can get the Flowing Sands moon and go right to the Sphinx's treasure. Just saves
Definitely.
around 7 to 8 seconds if done optimally, getting the clip first try.
But if you don't get it first try, then it can waste time as well. So
Looks like Conman doesn't go for Flowing Sands here either.
Not sure exactly the routing here for each one. I think they chose different routes for them that is more optimal for what they like for their sort of play style, I guess.
Definitely, yeah, because I haven't seen either of these routes in action ever before.
I haven't really either.
Ooh, it looks like Conman failed the Jaxie bullet skip there.
That'll definitely take more time away from Conman. Thankfully, though, he did get that checkpoint, so. Let's see if he can get it second try here. And he does it. Very nicely done.
Kerbis with a very fast Sand Kingdom.
Definitely. Conman only having one major mistake here, or two actually. Not getting the bullet bill to not explode was the first that set him back a bit, but also dying was the major setback for Conman here, so. We'll definitely see a big time difference here between Conman and Kerbis.
Looks like it's going to be around 35 to 40 seconds between the two players.
Kerbis just leaving the sand at 11:48 here.
Conman picks up his last moon in sand, heading towards the Odyssey.
And Conman already 40 seconds behind here. Looks like he's going to be maybe around the 50-second mark behind of Kerbis here, so definitely be hoping that Kerbis potentially fails somewhere here to be able to catch back up. So Kerbis having a solid 55-second lead on Conman. It definitely can come down to some fights later on in this game, but we'll have to see exactly what happens.
Kerbis has had perfect like execution so far.
Definitely. Kerbis having very, very good execution on all the kingdoms so far, with next to none for any chokes or bonks or anything. So, definitely very good on Kerbis's part.
And we see here that Kerbis is going to use some practice strategies to make this boss fight basically a joke. Nothing needed more than just a couple backflips there to take out this build.
Definitely, yes. No, the first time most people encounter that brutal, he is a little bit tricky for people to understand and grasp, because some people don't realize that you can hit his hat at first, so you're not exactly sure how to approach this brutal, but using this strategy, this brutal is one of the easiest, I feel, to do.
I would definitely say it's one of the easiest at poison guy.
Yep. Spirit is also the next one, yes.
Yeah. I always forget the names. Just call them by the colors.
Yeah. Most people color code them as well, so I don't blame you for doing that. Conman just entering the brutal fight as Kerbis is putting in all the moons into the Odyssey, so. Kerbis just leaving Lit Kingdom at 15 minutes and 4 seconds here, as Conman grabs the multi-moon to
Still
finish
looks
off
like
the
he's
Lit
got
Kingdom.
Still looks like he's got a 40 to 50-second lead over Conman at this point.
Now, Wooded Kingdom definitely has a lot of inputs to do in this kingdom, but there's one major part where you want to make the jump, and if you do miss the jump, then you will fall into deep woods, which kills a lot of runs because it does take up so much time to get out of deep woods. So if both players can make those jumps, then that'll be very useful for them, as they don't have to waste a lot of time getting out of deep woods.
Yeah, most definitely. In a normal run, if this wasn't a race and players were allowed to reset.
Now, this is the first actual kingdom that you do have to buy a moon in. The other kingdom is in Snow Kingdom, where you have to buy a moon there as well. So for Common Gamer going to Sphinx, it means he does have, I believe, a bit of a coin advantage over Kerbis, which means he will most likely be going to Snow first, as Kerbis might potentially not be going to Snow first and might be going to Seaside, depending on how his coin percentage plays out here.
Yeah, it's a really good point there, because there are around 40 to 50 coins just available on the Seaside route, so players will go to Seaside first.
So Common Gamer does have 197 coins coming into Wooded, but Kerbis had 130 in here. So going to Sphinx does give you a bit of a coin advantage over your opponent, but it does take a little bit longer as well.
Let's see if we can execute these sewers without taking damage here. Oop, suffers a bonk there, but that goes some well-executed movement from Kerbis.
Definitely. So I believe that is Kerbis' first bonk ever in this run so far, so not bad here. So now this jump coming up after this is the one that you do not want to fall on and you do not want to miss Cappy on. This jump does get very easy later on for most players, seeing as you do have lots of practice doing cap jumps. Now let's see if they can make it. Looks like Kerbis will make it here. Let's see what happens here.
Looks like the gap between the players' times is definitely separated. Ooh, wait. Looks like I misspoke. Conman did opt to take a different route, going to the flooded pipeway and the maze.
Yep.
Go beforehand, so.
There are two routes here. I have never seen the one that Common Gamer has used before. This one opts you to teleport after you've done Flooded Pipeway, if I'm not mistaken, as the one that Kerbis does, is you go to Flooded Pipeway after you get the nut on top of the ridge there. So definitely a difference in routing here.
The Discord, and from what I know, it's around half a second to a second faster if done optimally to use the teleport. But it is a very hard jump. You do have to long jump off a railing, and I've fallen into deep woods from missing that jump a couple times. So risky to attempt. And falling into deep woods will make you lose around a minute.
Kerbis struggling a little bit here in the tower with this skip here. Missing it 3 times already. Not 4.
So, there we go, finally. Requires you to walk off of that ledge with the uproot and then to launch yourself up while midair. And then before you fall off, so skip.
Definitely. Let's see if Common Gamer can do that first try. If he does do it first try, it means that he will be gaining a little bit of time, I believe, on Kerbis. Seeing as Kerbis did spend a good extra 10 to 15 seconds there on that skip.
The Power Moon here. We'll be traveling on to Cloud Kingdom after this.
This is going to be the first of many Bowser fights that we will see in this. This is the first one out of the second one. The second one we will see at the very end of this run in Bowser's Kingdom. Now it looks like Common Gamer does get the skip first try, and he does go for a little bit of a different strategy to get that moon, and does miss it first try. So maybe losing about 5 seconds there, but all in all, I think he gained a good potentially 10 seconds on Kerbis here.
Yeah, it looks like Kerbis's timer is red, which means he from those mistakes in Wooded Kingdom there. Yeah.
Kerbis going to be heading over to Cloud Kingdom here at 22:05. Yes, Common Gamer. Sorry, go ahead.
Like he will be around a minute. I was just about to say he looks like he'll be around a minute behind.
Yeah.
Fight that Kerbis is about to start. Bowser takes his hat and throws it at you to try and hurt you, but if you take his hat back from him, you punish Bowser. You see Kerbis there getting to Bowser exceptionally quickly to start punching, which A is very fast because this is a speedrun. You do want to get to Bowser as fast as possible, but it also does skip one of Bowser's cycles. Pick up his hat from far away. As we just see here, unfortunate mistake for Kerbis. Like what I was talking about there. Bowser throws some rocks at you and does some jumping around, which does mean you have to go re-chase him down. So the Bowser fight.
And it looks like Common Gamer will be a solid minute and 12 seconds behind Kerbis here. So losing even more time from the Sand Kingdom and Cascade Kingdom. So just small bonks, definitely. So just small bonks and small mistakes can set you back quite a bit, as we can see here.
Kerbis now entering the Lost Kingdom. Most arguably one of the hardest and most reset run. As one mistake on one failed jump, anywhere from 20 seconds to a minute and a half.
Definitely. Now the first jump, if you miss it on this one, it doesn't waste too much time, seeing it as it is at the start of this kingdom. But if you miss the last jump there, then that one definitely hurts you quite a bit.
And you may be thinking, why would deaths in different places of the kingdom hurt more than others? Well, it does seem sort of out of the ordinary that Kerbis is taking the side path up the mountain here instead of just going straight through the kingdom the intended way. And that is because the bird in Lost Kingdom, when walking down the intended path, he steals your hat. And then you have to go platform and get Cappy back, and then you could start collecting power moves. And so obviously we don't want this, and some awesome, amazing routers found a skip for that. Where if you go around the side, you miss the trigger for this klepto bird stealing your hat. A few short moments here, just trigger the attack phase of the bird. Its face. You watch right there, the music changed a little bit, and so that means the bird now thinks that it has Mario's hat. No longer try and steal Mario's hat because it does save around 2 to 3 minutes in this kingdom. Stolen, which is save, but reset that trigger, so definitely something you don't want to do in this kingdom. Nailed the last jump here. Conventional death is faster than grabbing them in the intended way. That is the end of Lost Kingdom there. Is only 4 moves behind, so still has that around minute time difference between him and Kerbis, which is definitely respectable for runners with 8-minute time differences in their PBs. Another race here. And it looks like he's using an alternate route here, going for Caged Gold instead of the Ground Pound Moon. Investigated into, ooh, and it does look like it's on the side of the tree. Takes a death. Conman. Unfortunate as usual because he's still able to get this moon as the cage still is unbroken and not here. So if he does manage to maneuver this correctly, due to the bird trigger is on that lower part of the tree, it is not just still there. So. Not knowing the information there, but as you can see, this is definitely a 30-45 second time loss here for Conman. Platforming in Rainy Metro here. One of the most input heavy parts of the entire run here is stream right now. He's going for a very input heavy route. You'll never see a moment here where Mario isn't just moving. Lots of precise cap jumps and cap throws here to just climb this vertically as fast as possible. I see. Very difficult jump. Executed perfectly by Kerbis. Conman has just collected the last moon in Lost Kingdom and is now traveling back to the Odyssey. The safe strat here, going around instead of jumping to get into that door 5 to 6 seconds faster. Call, as he is ahead in the race right now. 4-1 spot, not looking for a personal best or anything at this moment, so definitely a small call from Kerbis. Method. Does lose a few seconds there if Conman does decide to take that strat. Death in Lost Kingdom. Conman will be around 2.5 minutes behind Kerbis. Very close to the Mecha Wiggler here, manipulating the cycles to get the shortest possible time during this Wiggler's run around phase, which has not found a skip for this yet. Enough moons to be collected during nighttime to worlds. And hopefully he can get a 2-cycle here. It does look like he has to shoot a lot of orbs. Oh, and he's actually done it. That was... Insane clutch coming out from kerbis there to secure that second cycle. The Mecha Wiggler stopped moving. It looked like there were only 3 or 4 bulbs hit on the Mecha Wiggler out of 12 or 13. And does manage to clutch out each shot there from kerbis. Does look like he did lose a little bit of time there as his timer did turn red, but is still ahead of Conman, and that is the only thing that matters in a race, is beating your opponent. So Miniguma here, and he's also attempting the very input-heavy City Hall as kerbis advances to Day Metro. We'll see here if Conman does attempt a risky jump. Be nice to see alternate routes in the stream. It looks like he's going for it. Ends the cap dive. Good execution there, saving around 5 to 6 seconds over kerbis not taking it. If he can, 2 cycle the boss, that will be a slight time save for Conman and Metro here. So, kerbis is coming up on one of my more favorite moons. One of my most favorite moons in this run. Bench Friends. Perfect execution landing on the bench. Very smooth. Guy just wants a friend to talk to, you know? Good execution there. Conman is about to go for the 2 cycle on this Mecha Wiggler. Wiggler has stopped. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get the 2 cycle here unless he clutches out these last 2 shots. Ooh, has 4 or 5 bulbs left there. Unfortunate mistake for Conman. Not getting any shots while the Wiggler was moving there. 30 to 45 seconds. Hopefully he can get some quick fast shots here to 3 cycle the boss. Looks like he's got 1 orb left. That is a pretty fast 3 cycle, but still not as good as a 2 cycle there. Conman about to collect the Metro here and gets the multi-moon. So taking on a daytime Metro around 3.5 minutes slower than kerbis. Pushes through the crowd there and is about to get the secret moon in this room, going over the crowd. Very smooth execution there from kerbis. Got just 3 moons left to go. Some of my favorites in the run as well, Metro. So we see kerbis talk to Pauline here, and the boss, Pauline, needs 4 musicians for, and we only get 2. That's the drummer right there. Got just 2 moons left on Metro for kerbis. Conman struggling a bit with the RC car movement. Better than it looks. For those of you that also run this game, you can definitely attest to that fact there. The controls are just wacky at times. Finally got it there. Kerbis coming up on her moons in the entire run. OTEP. There we go. OTEP. Kerbis, with that moon, finishes up Daytime Metro, and we'll be moving on to Seaside Kingdom. Does not have the 100 coins required for the Snow Kingdom Shopman. And there's no real time loss going to Seaside over Snow. You do just need to move down once and then press A. But
it does waste about 2-ish seconds apparently, but besides that, it doesn't really waste that much time.
Yeah. You have to do the rat and sand that doesn't collect the Sphinx. That saves a lot more time than the 2 seconds saved going to Snow before Seaside. So
definitely.
Kerbis coming up on one of the hardest jumps in the run here. Takes a lot of precise execution to nail. And it looks like he's unfortunately bonked. It looks like he was late on the wall jump there. Opts for the triple jump instead.
He gets it.
Seem to give him a lot more height there. Do give a lot more height than ground pound jumps or not, but
definitely. Kerbis, you're having a definite, having a huge lead over Conman here.
Yeah. Conman did 3-cycle the Mecha Wiggler, while Kerbis only had a 2-cycle, so time losses for Conman and Metro so far. Other than that, to get the rest of the daytime.
Yeah, so far looking like really good daytime for him. The Carman is
getting the first of 2 musicians there, exactly.
Definitely is. Carman's also approaching one of the biggest memes in this game, which is these guys, these band guys, most of them do say the word OTEP. It has become a big thing in the community. Not exactly sure why, but it just has.
Yeah, most definitely. Here it comes. There we go. Don't have the sound on for that there, as it is turned to Kerbis's setup, but
yeah.
And he did say OTEP. And lose a little bit of time here in Seaside due to messing up his. But other than that, perfect execution. We'll leave Metro. See if he goes Snow first over Seaside. He did take the Sphinx route, so most likely will do that.
Yep.
Does pick Snow, and Kerbis will join him in Snow in a second.
Definitely. Kerbis just finishing up Lake Kingdom here. Very well. Or sorry, Seaside Kingdom. My bad. Here. He did choke a bit on that. On the cave section, I guess you can call it. In Seaside here. So let's see how Conman does on that part when he gets to Seaside. That's really the only major choke there on Kerbis's part. So that I've seen so far.
Both players are in snow. Now outside before entering the main part of the kingdom there. In every kingdom, the only place where it is viable to be collected is Snow Kingdom.
Definitely, yes. Say hi and bye to Captain Toad while he's here.
Real up close in that shopkeeper's face to get that moon. Most runners don't know this actually, and I found out about this recently while watching a race the other day on this channel. Kerbis destroying all his blocks, so I'm gonna take an alternate red there.
Yeah.
You can actually trigger the shopkeepers while walking only a couple steps forward, and we'll see if Kerbis does do that here.
It is a little bit weird to execute though. And also he doesn't. He gets up in his face as well, so.
Conman going for this tight jump here, and misses the extra jump on to the second secret, so just retries the jump, and gets it this time.
Nice. Very nicely done on Conman's part.
So if anyone here has played through Super Mario Odyssey, you will know that once completing all 4 of the rooms in this kingdom, a race opens up. That race, unfortunately, is not present in the 80% run. Just a little bit too slow to go through all 4 rooms and then do the race.
Definitely. There is a skip though that is used in the World Peace run of this game where you can clip through the ground and get to the race immediately without having to do the 4 rooms.
And for those who don't know, World Peace is a category where 20% in the fact that you just have to beat Bowser at the end to win, but the only stipulation is you must bring peace to every kingdom and show proof of that using the achievement from Toadette. Which basically means no skipping stories, no skipping bosses, which is...
Definitely. So basically, in short, you want to grab every single multi-moon that there is in every single kingdom.
Yeah. The world record for that category, I think right now is around 1 hour and 24 minutes, so... It's off of 80% world record, but it is not ran by the same people, so we will see if the 80% world record holder does try and run World Peace sometime soon or not. Both players on the last couple moons in snow here, so it does look like Kerbis has a approximately 4-minute lead over Conman.
Definitely. Seeing as Kerbis has already finished up Seaside Kingdom, as Conman has not, and he is still in snow. Oh, snow over Seaside, I believe snow is a little bit longer just because you do have to go into all the rooms and trigger a lot more cutscenes than as opposed to Seaside where you trigger none.
Yeah, definitely. They both do require the same amount of moons to complete. They're just less cutscenes in Seaside, so it is a shorter kingdom. We see both runners here at the end enter the boss room out of the 4 rooms. This one does have the kingdom with the spinny hats. But alas, we do not fight the boss here. It's just here for the secret, and then we leave. So.
Definitely.
will have to do Seaside, but Kerbis has already finished, so he will move on to Luncheon Kingdom. And attempting this hard jump in Seaside scales the wall a bit differently than Kerbis did. Now, first try. Starts off with a triple jump here. And looks like he does have enough height to... Very well executed from Conman. And as I say that, he bonks. Commentator's curse. Man.
Now let's see how well Conman executes that room that Kerbis did have a little bit of trouble on in Seaside here. He's coming up to it right now, so let's see if he can execute it first try, as opposed to Kerbis, who had to do it, or had to go back and retry a solid, I believe, second time, so. Looks like Conman gets it. Very nicely done.
Kerbis messing up a wall jump there, saving himself from death, but gets a second try.
Now, this is actually the second time you fight Spirit here. The first time is obviously in Wooded, and the second time is here in Luncheon. Now, some people always ask, why do you have to fight this boss in Luncheon? Well, that's because if you do not fight the boss, then the cutscenes and all the rest of the areas, so the Meat Plateau, do not trigger. So you have to kill this boss to trigger the next part, and then you have to get the cheese moon as well to trigger the meat. So those are the only two actual story moons in this kingdom that you have to get.
Yeah, most definitely. There just aren't enough moons and to finish Luncheon Kingdom without fighting this boss. He's also relatively fast to beat and very precise movement to execute the boss skip. So it just is not worth it in the Everstar run.
Definitely. And now in Luncheon Kingdom, you do get a multi-moon at the end, and some people always wonder why, or like, why do you go for multi-moon, and that means you have to fight usually a boss or something. But in this kingdom, there is actually two multi-moons in Luncheon Kingdom. One of them is you fight the bird at the end, and then another one is you get free, basically, multi-moon from just getting up to the Meat Plateau there. So that's why we incorporated the multi-moon into this run, because it is getting 3 moons instead of 1. So
yeah, I myself am still very confused as to why the game just gives you a free multi-moon.
I am too, honestly.
Seems a bit odd that they would do that. It does make the speedrun a lot faster, so
It does, yes.
we are not complaining. Just about to finish up Seaside here. Looks like he's around 3.5 minutes behind Kerbis here.
Right. Kerbis does bonk there on the pillar here. Yeah, so Common Gamer just leaving Seaside here, as opposed to Kerbis, who is just at about the halfway point of Luncheon Kingdom here.
And there's only one route difference that runners can take in Luncheon here, is they can opt for the Forks room on the right here, which looks like Kerbis is not opting to take. Or they could opt for the Potable room later on. Both routes, or both rooms, are the same speed when done optimally, so it's simply the runner's choice which one they feel more comfortable with.
Definitely.
Kerbis unfortunately bonks there. Twice. Oof.
Dang. Now, upcoming here is the cheese moon that I was talking about earlier. Now this moon requires you to take the pan bro there and get inside the cheese to get that switch. Now the pan bro's aim is very bad, so it can be a little bit difficult to get that switch depending on how you do it. Now if you shake your Joy-Cons, the pans will go farther and faster, but if you opt to just push the B button, then the pans will throw a lot slower, but they are a bit more precise and a lot closer. So
I know my method is to use just the button and no shake controls and get as close to the block as possible, so they will break instantly. Works for me, but
definitely
there too with the shake controls, so so runner's choice.
I'm shaking the controller. It can be a bit faster, but with just using the throwing strat, it is a little bit slower, but you are almost guaranteed it to be decently fast as well. So it's definitely the runner's choice on which one they are going to use for that moon.
And here we see Kerbis in the prototype right now. Various jumps in Luncheon Kingdom coming up right here. So land that dash just perfectly, and we'll see if he takes the platform, and he opts to not. Opt to jump there and skip the moving platform entirely, take a damage boost, or they can take a very risky dash to the platform while it's on the right side, and then dash over again.
Definitely, yeah.
The second or two, but is a lot riskier and would not arguably be safe in a race format. So.
Kerbis, most likely knowing he's in the lead at this point, opts to not take a lot of risky strats here and just go for very easy strats here so that he doesn't die at all and get set back. So very smart on Kirby's part for just taking the less risky strat and optimizing movements here. So Kerbis does get the final moon, or the free melting moon in this kingdom, as conmangamer is just getting the box moon here. So
And Kerbis about to leave Luncheon here. Conman still has around 10 minutes to go.
definitely. Now, let's see which route conmangamer decides to use here. Does he go for the forks room, or does he go for the portable room as well? And it looks like he's going to go for forks here. So you can definitely see the two different options in rooms here that you can take. The fork room can be definitely easier, but depending on how much controls work out for you and everything else, would decide on if it will be faster for your run or if it will not.
Looks like Conman has near perfect execution of the fork room there. It just goes to show how different this game can be, just with slight route modifications. Or what they want to say, I think.
Definitely. The Conman finish up the room very fast, as Kerbis has gone into Ruin Kingdom here. Now this kingdom has been named many things by many people in the speedrunning community. Some people call it the Dark Souls Dragon, other people call it the Skyrim Dragon, some other games. But all in all, in the end, it was very surprising for most of us to see a dragon in a Mario game. So, whatever you...
Definitely agree there. And just coming up to the Cheese Rock Moon here. Let's see what stride he takes. Oh, he does just ready to do the short button. Short throws.
Definitely. So you saw the two different strats there. conmangamer going for just the regular bead throwing, as Kerbis did do the mad throws at the cheese, so.
Kerbis does take a little bit of damage, but it does look like it was intentional there. A little bit earlier.
Definitely. So the strategy for the dragon there, if you can execute it well and get on top of the dragon early, what it does is it allows you to hit the forks, or whatever you want to call them, on top of the dragon faster, as if you just waited for his lightning phase to end. So the Conman here approaching the end of luncheon, as Kerbis is just finishing up the Ruined Kingdom here. So Kerbis putting all the moons into the Odyssey here at the end of Ruined Kingdom, as Conman grabs the final moon on luncheon, which means he will be heading off to Ruined as well. And Kerbis will be heading off to the final kingdom before the Moon Kingdom, which is Bowser's Kingdom.
Conman just finishing up luncheon here. Looks like the runners are separated by around 4 minutes, so unless if Kerbis suffers couple of deaths, the race should be solidified in his favor.
It looks like Kerbis and Conman are exactly 4 minutes apart from each other here, as I did put on a stopwatch just to check for anyone who's wondering the exact times. They are exactly 4 minutes apart from each other, so far looking like Conman is going to get a new personal best here in this run, if he can still keep that 4-minute time save here. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Kerbis grabbing his first moon in the Bowser Kingdom, as Conman goes to fight the dragon in Ruined.
Kerbis jumping over that wall there or something I've never seen before, like that first one was showed.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different strats there for this part of the game. Now, it looks like Kerbis is going to take a strategy where you use the Pokio to get over that wall quickly instead of going around the wall there. As well as the first one, he opts to go over the wall instead of around as well. So definitely a lot of different routes there there's definitely a lot of different ways to do that part, and Kerbis opts to take one of the many routes there. So
yep. Just goes to show how versatile movement in this game really is. Coming up the left side of the wall here to get this moon. The right side, I should say, but closer. Opting to not go around.
Looks like Conman did have a little bit of trouble there on the dragon on the last phase. Did take the damage, but did not get the damage boost to get on the dragon early. And did miss a bunch of the forks a few times here, so Kerbis opting to go over that wall instead of around and up the stairs here, And moving on to the second topper fight here. So
misses that second half bounce there, but he knows where it is. He's going for it. Go to Kerbis. Takes out quickly there.
definitely.
Really is runner's choice for which Brutal to fight first.
Some people take Harriet first, and other people will take Topper first. It's really preference, honestly, as to which one you feel you'd like to do first that run, or just whichever one you're better at, first or last.
Conman is now just joining Kerbis in the Bowser Kingdom here. Does know this or not, but there's a way to speed up the pace at which this Brutal does throw her bombs. Harriet, if you walk towards her to make her back up and then walk away after having her bounce once or twice, she will throw as soon as you back up, which does save her on 10 to 15 seconds on the boss fight there. 10 to 15, more like bad estimation there. My apologies.
Definitely, yeah. So it looks like Kerbis finishes up with both of those Brutals fairly quickly here. Now we're going to be moving on to the third section, I believe, of Bowser's Kingdom. And as I say that, Conman does do a little bit of a riskier strat there and goes for a triple jump off the railing. He does get hit by this guy here and does miss the first cycle, sadly enough. For him, he did get the very good triple jump, but because he did miss the first cycle, it means all that small amount of time that he got there was wasted.
Yep, exactly.
Conmangamer getting his first moon there in Bowser's Kingdom as Kerbis climbs the tower and gets up to the next live wire, which will bring him up to this next fight. Now this next fight is definitely a little tricky. It looks like Kerbis here is going to go for birdless strats on this Mecha Brutal fight. Here.
Save 11 seconds over using the Pokeo to climb up for first cycle, and saves well over a minute from doing the boss the intended way. Use the bird to blow up the Mecha Brutal's feet, and then use the bird to climb up once the foot has been destroyed. Well-timed cap jumps and dives here to manipulate these cycles and just get back onto the Mecha Brutal here.
Definitely. It looks like Kerbis does it twice in a row, which is very nice for him. He only has 2 Brutals left. Go on the side, and then Harriet on the top.
Side one is the hardest one to ground pound, and it looks like he's missed it and fallen off.
Oh.
For Kerbis, giving some time for Conman to catch up here.
If Conman does do birds, if Conman does do bird strats, and if he does happen to stay on the entire time, he could catch up a little bit here to Kerbis. So
looks like Kerbis does get on much faster than usual. We'll see if he can get this ground pound before being launched.
Just barely missing it. It does look like he will be able to get back on top though.
See if he can get the ground pound this time. Ground pound actually looked very close to me. Get it on this cycle here. Definitely a 2-second
Very
mistake.
nicely executed. Now he just has the last Brutal on the top, 2 ground pound.
Struggling a little bit here with it. To finally get it.
Nicely done. Now, as Kerbis is just finishing up that Mecha Brutal fight here, Conman is fighting Harriet over in the Brutal section. I'm not sure which one Conman opted to choose first. He does miss that cycle on the bombs, sadly enough. But does get the next cycle.
It looks like Conman has chosen Harriet first here, and then go on to the mech fight. So with optimal execution here, he's around 3 minutes behind, gaining around a minute from Kerbis' mistakes on Mecha Brutal there.
Definitely. If Conman can get a perfect Brutal fight here, he can save that 1 minute time that Kerbis lost here, and Conman could catch up here, so.
But he's definitely not out of the race at this point.
Definitely. If Kerbis messes up terribly in the later section of the game, Conman could make a comeback, but that is a very low chance of happening. But if it does happen, that would be an amazing win for Conman. Conman does miss the hat cycle there.
I don't think he's very sure which hat it is.
He does get it fairly fast, though, so. Very nice on him. Now, Kerbis just finishing up Bowser's Kingdom here and is going to be leaving to go to the moon.
4 minutes behind here, but dying in the 2D section in Moon Kingdom happens a lot. Moon skip and just some small mistakes in general.
Definitely. And if any of these runners happen to fall into the unmistakable hole at the very last part, that could also kill a run. And most people know that it's there now, but some new runners do not know that it is there, and it can kill runs because depending on which side you come at it from, you can't tell that there is a hole there. So that's definitely killed some world record runs before. So we'll see how this goes for Kerbis here. Conman reaching the next point in Bowser's Kingdom here, as Kerbis is heading over to do Moonskip.
He is heading to Moonskip here, Moonskip being one of the biggest time save, if not the biggest time save out of any skip. You can see a hole on the left leading to a cave right there, just as Kerbis pop by it, and that's the intended route. You're supposed to go through a regular gravity section to reach the top, but with a couple very precise cap bounce here to a very precise wall jump on a first try.
Very nicely done.
You're able to bounce off that perpendicular wall as though it was parallel to the other wall. Why that works, but the first try there, so no time lost on it so far for it.
As Kerbis enters the church here, Conman does, or the hall, whatever you want to call it, Conman does get over to the brutal fight. He is opting to go the intended way, which is with the bird here.
So he will use this bird to climb up, kill the first brutal, and then we'll poke back on before the brutal stands up again. Let's see if he can execute it. Ooh, just barely misses that poke. We'll have to do the second cycle normally now. Fighting Bowser again for the second time.
Definitely.
It's fairly similar to the fight in Cloud Kingdom, except there's just more purple hats and a little bit more.
Definitely. Now, it is good that Conman missed the cycle, like the first cycle and none of the other cycles, because the first cycle is the one that is the slowest, so it is the best one to miss. But it looks like Conman does fall off again, as he did not bounce off of Cappy there, so that does cost Conman more time here.
Will keep his lead throughout the remainder of this race.
And even if Kerbis did happen to die anywhere in the final part with Bowser, he would still be ahead of Conman. You would see as Conman has had a very rough, like a brutal fight here.
Most definitely.
I need to be able to make it back on top for the last section to be able to get Harriet. And it looks like he does not.
Mistakes here from Conman.
Definitely. Conman falling off every single time off the Mecha Brutal. which definitely hurts him a lot. Kerbis here coming up in the final part and on the escape sequence of the moon here. Now in this sequence you do become Bowser, which is always a lot of fun.
Big surprise, definitely. To really possess him to finish the game is definitely a huge shock. He's coming up on the 2D part here, which we'll see if he attempts the 2D jump or not. It's a very difficult jump that saves around a second if executed properly.
It looks like Kerbis wanted to go for the 2D skip there, but opted to not.
Accidentally destroyed a block that he needed to complete the skip, and unfortunately could not do it.
He did look a bit hesitant going into it, looking like he wasn't sure about going around the other way, seeing as you can fall and die there, and then you have to restart that entire first section of Moon. So
you see him here strategically using the fireballs to break the wall before he actually gets up to it, saving a couple of claw swipes.
Definitely not Kerbis' best run here. It will not be a new personal best for him, but definitely probably not one of Kerbis' worst runs ever. So
definitely better than my personal best, so I'll give him that.
I can give him that as well. Carmen here just finishing up Bowser's Kingdom, and he'll be heading to the moon as well, as Kerbis here is finishing up this escape sequence.
You saw him throw a couple fireballs at the right pillar here before going over to the left one, which is actually faster if you execute it perfectly, because you'll only need one more fireball, and then you can go straight to the end. Didn't really realize that, so lost a couple seconds there, but looks like this is going to be a very low 112 for Kerbis.
You can get under it, yes it will be. Potentially, no. Yeah, it will be a very low 112.
112 for Kerbis here.
It was almost a 111 for him, but it did not end up being.
So 112.04 for Kerbis, your first place race winner.
Very nicely done on his part.
Minor mistakes during the run. I don't think he died once, honestly.
Definitely.
Here and there, missing some jumps, is what led to losing a minute over his PB, but unfortunately Conman could not catch up in time and the moon skip, so.
Definitely. Now, Carmen here, coming up on the moon skip, it looks like he will not, oh, I've never seen that before.
Looks like that is a very weird execution for the moon skip.
That is. I've never seen that ever happen before, but I don't think Carmen's complaining here.
That's so crazy. All jumps there instead of two. I've never seen that.
I've never seen that either.
I'm very curious actually to see how consistent that is, because if that can be nailed down first try and someone struggles with the other moon skip, it seems like a very viable alternate strat.
Definitely.
Very surprising from Conman there, definitely. That if he decides to come in for an interview after his run.
Yep.
So Conman is on the second cycle out of 3 for this Bowser fight, and the only major difference here from the Cloud one is he does have this unskippable attack phase where he... So...
Definitely.
Does have a PB of around 1 hour and 16 minutes, so he will not beat it this run, but will come very close, and it's definitely a respectable run for a person with this time.
Oh, definitely.
PB is 1:16.04, yeah, so be around a minute of that time, but gotta give the racers credit. There's definitely a ton of pressure put on. So.
Both their PBs are lower than mine at this point in time, so I have to give them credit for getting this far in this game, seeing as it is kind of hard later on to get such a low time because you have to really practice movements, practice kingdoms, and practice all your choke points for a good while before you can get up to these points that these guys have gotten to. So definitely props to all the top players and people with really low times for getting to this point.
They definitely pour hours and hours of work into their times. I know I have around 40 to 50 hours of playtime in, and my PB is only a 114.
Definitely, yeah.
Good by a lot of standards, but it does take a ton of time to.
As opposed to, for a quick example, Velu has done, which is the top one of the top players, and many a time world record holder of this game, has at least a good solid over 150 hours in this game, as of you, Feinberg, has a 114. So there is a huge time difference here for practice times. So Velu has practiced a ton more than a lot of people here. So it just goes to show how much time some of these people put into this game, which is really cool just to see how everybody plays in their play style and just the amount of time and effort they put into all this stuff. So props to a lot of the top people for putting in so many hours into all this. So
I definitely agree there, and I also think it's really awesome to see how many new speedrunners just come in due to this game. I know I never thought of ever speedrunning a game before until Odyssey came out, and it's actually the first time I've ever used Live Splitter, used a timer to track my time here, and just seeing my growth from my first run being almost 2 hours long to now having a 114 is just really awesome. So I'd recommend if anyone's looking into super fun. I'm in this race right now, and even though I'm probably most likely going to get eliminated before the bracket stage, it's just a really good experience, just seeing all the different routes that people use, trying to beat your own time, and you get to do it all playing a game that you really enjoy. So
oh, definitely, yeah, this game is a lot of fun to speedrun, and definitely one that I enjoy quite well, and it is my first speedrunning game as well, and it is definitely one of an easier game to speedrun and play. There are a lot of a lot of inputs you have to put in, but once you get them down, they can be pretty easy. So, and
it looks like yep, exactly same exact thing. Great minds think alike.
Yeah,
117.32 for Conman. That's been 28 seconds slower than Kerbis.
Definitely. So you can see the big time difference here between Conman and Kerbis here. They both had. They came into this run. Conman did have 8 minutes over, as opposed to over Kerbis, sorry, for time. And they came out, and Conman is only 5 minutes over here. So definitely an improvement, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from Conman.
Yeah, that's definitely. And we're gonna bring Kerbis in here now. Talk about his run a little bit. Hello, Kerbis.
Hey guys, what's up? Can you hear me?
Not much yet. Your mic's working just fine.
Alright, awesome.
Yeah. What do you think?
I was pretty happy with that. Pretty much, I choked the mech fight a little bit, but other than that, that was actually a really good run.
And that's around a minute off of your PB there, and you did fall off on that one mech cycle. But other than that, no very major mistakes there.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I saw the chat calling me out a couple times for being a little scared baby, but you know, I'm here to win, so I'm gonna take those safe strats, and chat can make fun of me if they want. I'll take that. I'll accept that.
That's definitely what a race is all about.
Also, I gotta say, I don't know how I pulled off that two cycle wiggler. Like, that was so close.
I
that was very close. Yeah.
I had like. Insane. At the point it stopped, I still had like half of the body parts that I had to shoot, and I just fired like as many shots as I could, and they somehow all hit. So I don't know how I did that, but
body parts were still there, and we were both very amazed that you just hit every single shot. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna miss like most of those, but yeah, that was really lucky. But yeah, like I said, other than the the mech fight, that run was really good. It was only a minute 40 off my PB, so can't complain about that for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Very good race though between you and Khan though. Khan did come in here with a higher PB than you, but he still did very well though. All in all, he did do a 3 wall jump strat though for moon skip, which we have never seen before. So that was something to definitely see and experience. So
I didn't see it myself, but I heard you guys talking about it as I was finishing up. But I'll have to go back and look at that. But yeah, he
definitely
he did a good job. I think he came pretty close to this PB.
Definitely.
So
he did miss all the cycles on Mecha though. He did end up falling off every single time he hit a brutal. So that definitely brought him back down a good solid minute or two. So
he probably would have PB'd if not for that.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that was a really good, really strong showing from him.
Definitely is.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. 2 racers coming close to their personal best. That's what more can you ask for, you know?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Comment in here for an interview in just a second, but yeah. His moon skip strat, something I've never seen before.
Very well played though. You did you choked one time in Seaside. I saw that in the cave section. You did miss the moon and had to go back and do it. So
yeah, that's a common mistake for me for sure. The depth perception in that room is definitely not very good. So it happens. You know, it's thankfully it's only a few second mistake really. You can get back up pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
It is intended to be completed with a gush in there, so
right. It's actually, I'd say if it weren't for the depth perception in that room, that would probably be one of my favorite moons in the route. Just the jumps to get up there are pretty cool.
All right, bringing Conman in here right now. Man,
hello.
With us, how's it going? What are the thoughts on your run?
Really bad in general.
What do you think? Yeah, there were a couple grips on the mech, unfortunately. A couple bosses were slow, but about your moon cave skip strategy. Never seen that before. Opting for 3 wall jumps there.
Yeah, I did the really slow 4 wall jump method, just out of being really safe, and and then I realized I just needed 3 wall jumps to get enough height.
Well, I for one, and I know Kerbis and Mr. Bunny both have not seen that strat ever used before, so it was definitely something cool to see.
Definitely is.
Around a minute off your PB there, which is a very good time for a race run, you know. Hearts pounding. I definitely understand what it feels like, so very respectable runs from both players here.
Definitely is.
And it looks like we're gonna be wrapping up here, so
definitely.
Ready for stopping by and watching. To Kerbis and conmangamer, go follow their Twitches. They put a lot of hard work and hours into dropping their times for this game and to run it in front of all you guys, and just something that takes a lot of hard work and determination. So definitely give them a follow. Co-commentator Mr. Bunny a follow, and if you really want to,
give Feinberg a follow as well, if you feel like it. Go follow any of us and any of these guys. Great show they put on today. Definitely looking forward to the rest of this tournament coming up here. I don't know if there's any other races that are going to be today, but if there are, stay tuned for that. And if not, thank you for tuning into this one.
Last race for today. We have races all throughout the next month, so Odyssey is not going to run out anytime soon. We are off. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
See ya.
See ya.